Good morning. I think it's still good morning, Mayor Frank and committee members. Thank you for allowing me this opportunity. I am Phillip Bradshaw, President of the Virginia Association of Counties and also Chairman of the Isle of Wight County Board of Supervisors. And it is a pleasure to follow my good friend, Mayor Jim Council, which we are neighbors, and actually I say neighbors, we probably live maybe 5 miles apart, that close. So it is great. We've known each other for years, been involved in a lot of activities in our community. And I will just echo his comments about regionalism. My probably staff is over there cringing that I'm even mentioned regionalism, because that's not what we're supposed to talk. But we do support it, and I'm a very strong supporter of regionalism, and have been. And our localities have worked together, and the mayor did not expand enough on our efforts with the closure of International Paper that happened to us last fall, the announcement. And actually, when they made that announcement, Jim and I were just astonished as far as, we were lost for words. What in the world are we going to do? We met that day, immediately right on the site of the International Paper, and decided that we were going to bring our 3 localities together and we were going to take action. And we work collectively together, because International Paper's track record is just to walk away and leave the site and not do anything. And I have to say, because of our 3 localities working together and working with the labor union and the community and the business community, and bringing in the state government, the governor's office, and bringing in our congressmen and our senators, we work collectively, and we have seen very positive efforts, and we're looking forward to an announcement within the next 4 or 6 weeks. We may not have the 1,100 or the 2,100 jobs we had there years ago when I was working there, but we may have 400 or 500 jobs announced in the next year or so. Hopefully that's something that's going to happen. And that's because we work together collectively. We had a common goal, and we looked at it and we worked together. But here we're, I'm supposed to be talking about mandates. I don't know about y'all, but I'm overwhelmed. I thought I knew a little bit about mandates, but my gosh, after that presentation that we just had and went through with all those mandates, I didn't realize we had that many mandates, and it's overwhelming to me. But we as local governments, we understand the need for the mandates, and they serve a purpose for the policy to implement federal and state goals. But looking at this now, there's probably a better way. And I applaud this commission, and I think there is a better way of handling and dealing with federal and state mandates, and I appreciate your recommendation as far as saying what's the impact on local governments. I've been saying that for years. I mean, we're just taking a beating on the local levels. I mean, you know it firsthand. I mean, every time we turn around, there's a mandate, or even they're taking something from us. Let me begin by sharing you the VACo's current policy statement regarding state mandates. This policy was adopted by our association last year. You've got my handouts from my presentation. There's a lot more detail than what I'm going to go over, and I'm going to try to streamline it because you're getting a lot of information. First of all, VACo, we oppose unfunded mandates by the Commonwealth. When funding for a mandate program is altered, the mandate should be suspended until further funding is restored. When legislation with the cost of localities is passed by the General Assembly, the cost should be borne by the state, and the legislation should contain a sunset clause, providing that the mandate is not binding on localities until funding by the Commonwealth is provided. Furthermore, VACo opposes the shifting of the fiscal responsibility from the state to localities for existing programs, and we've seen that happen a lot. Any unfunded mandate or shifting of responsibility should be accompanied by a full fiscal and program analysis to determine the relative cost to the state and to the locality, and to assure the state is meeting its full funding responsibility before taking effect. And what follows, I'm going to go over a list of some state mandates that's most concerned to Virginia localities in our counties here. And of course, it's not an all-inclusive. Y'all got the manual of all the lists. I don't know if that's all of them or not, but it's a lot. And it doesn't cover some of the programs. I'm not going to talk about transportation. That's a whole other area. Because that impacts every locality in the state of Virginia and the state also. What I'll try to do is touch on each one of these mandates that we think is very significant, and additional information has been passed out to you. One of the first things is we support the abolishing of the current biennial aid to localities reduction. The reversion of $60 million in 2011 and another $60 million in 2012 creates a hardship for localities, and it appears unnecessary since the governor's administration just announced that we've got $220 million in state surplus. So that's one of the first things that we'd like to look at and take into consideration. That could be immediate assistance to localities, since that $60 million is hitting us. We're almost sure nothing will happen in the 11 budget, but maybe with the next budget there could be a recommendation for the elimination of that. And that's just a straight across the flat out taking money from the localities. It's not even a mandate, it's just straight budget reduction it's already been implemented. Localities are holding the K-12 public education system, and the Mayor Council talked about that, and I'm proud that we're working with them on the early childhood prevention with the Smart Beginning program that we've instituted on and implemented on a regional basis. It is highly successful. But we've been working together with localities as far as the standards of accreditation and the standards of learning. We've been holding that together, and we as local governments are spending $3 billion, or 82% more than what is required by the state standards. We as local governments, we know the importance of education in the state of Virginia. We know that having an excellent education, not only with K-12, but on the higher education level, is important for jobs and economic development and growth in the state of Virginia. And that's why we're pumping the money into the education system. But unfortunately, it's not mandated by the state. We're just doing this voluntarily. But the problem is the state is not even funding what they're required to do as far as education. That's one of the biggest lapses as far as mandates and what the state is required to do is in education, the K-12. The Commonwealth has also increased mandatory local participation percentages for the provision of services funded through the Comprehensive Services Act. And if any of you know about the Comprehensive Services Act, when that was implemented some years ago, the state was funding it, and all of a sudden, the funding responsibilities continually shifted to the local governments, and it shifts every year. Mandates increase in local rates for residential and foster care related services should be abolished, and they should be returned to the 2006 level. Local match rates should not differentiate between service types. We also support granting counties the authority cities and towns retain to enact local excise taxes, including the cigarette tax, emission tax, transit occupancy tax, and meals tax. Real estate tax is the only thing we have, Mayor. I mean, we're dependent on it. And I'm going to tell you something, in Isle of Wight County, our real estate tax rate is 52 cents a hundred. 52 cents a hundred. Our number one complaint in our county is that we have high taxes and that we're overspending. We probably, I think it's one other locality east of 95 that's lower than we are. And we're at 35,000 people. We have 9 schools in our county. I mean, we're very progressive and very growing, and we're proud of it. But I mean, the real estate tax rate just takes a beat, especially with senior citizens and individuals on fixed incomes and our farming community. We're very agricultural and rural in our area. We also support granting counties the authority the cities and towns have also to approve general obligation debt. We have to go, most localities have to go through a referendum in order to get debt. And today, in order to take advantage of the change in the financial rates, the interest rates when they're dropping down, you have to go to a referendum. You can't refinance. A county cannot refinance in order to reduce its debt and its obligations on interest. That's a big thing. Fortunately,